Hi, and welcome to the Divinely Inspired Woman podcast. I am your host, Patricia Wald-Hopkins. I am a modern mystic, and I am here to share with you the beautiful wisdom and stories from women that desire to lead their lives inspired by the divine within them. The divinely inspired woman is devoted to walking the path of her soul's calling, tuning into the divinity within to navigate life with ease and grace through all circumstances. She cultivates beauty in her daily life. She is here to share the most authentic self each day through thick and thin. So I hope you'll enjoy our show today and that you will leave with an infusion of inspiration for your soul and for your day and living your life. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Divinely Inspired Woman podcast. I'm Patricia Wald-Hopkins, your host, and I have an amazing guest with me today, the beautiful Judy. And you say your last name Kuo or
Quo, like status quo.
like Kuo? That's what okay. Yeah, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us here today. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about Judy before we have a playful conversation. So, Judy is an energy coach and a healer who is highly sensitive and in tune with energy patterns and behaviors which directly contribute to our outcomes, also known as our reality. By understanding them, she can intuitively foresee, and some call it predict. The truth is that energy is neutral and can change and evolve according to one's healing journey. She facilitates and provides guidance to understanding those patterns and behaviors in conjunction to providing relief and thus encouraging more long-term healing. In addition, she is, in addition to being a certified shamanic Reiki healer, she is also a connector of worlds. She is a connector and bridge between the energetic, physical, spiritual worlds, and dimensions. She uses various methodologies and tools to support one in achieving healing and results, which, whether that be relief from anxiety, lack of self love, depression, pain, negativity, or finding their purpose, passion, happiness, health, peace, and so forth. I know that you use a variety of methodologies: meditation, sound healing, oracle intuitive readings, crystal healing, shamanic Reiki and ancestral access, light trauma recalibration, angelic activation, elemental balancing, light language activation channeling, and inner child and or past lives wound support. Judy's mission is to support others in getting better at tapping into their own higher guidance by unblocking stuck energies, providing relief, letting go of old unhealthy patterns, and creating new ones. She is here to empower and inspire others through their healing journeys so we can all thrive more at a soul level. Everything she practices is part of her own healing journey that started back in 2016, overcoming her life's second near death experience. Oh, wow. I have to ask you a little bit more about that. But welcome.
Thank
What an
you.
amazing tool set and mission that you have.
Yes. And if I may add one little thing that it's been more of a recent type of
Yes, yes.
um, energetics is I've been called to really, really work with the star seeds
Mhm.
that are showing up, that are needing the support these days, and stepping into that role of a star seed activator and coach. So that has been my primary focus at the moment. Of course, I'll bring in all of the other tools and my experiences and everything else. But yeah, and light language, of course, which
In the
that's
light
how we
language, yes.
connected
Yes, that's
physically.
how we connected. Yes.
Yeah.
And so the starseed connection that you're doing now, when did that start for you? When did you start to do that? In the
Wow.
last year, or is it something?
Yeah.
And
The calling has been this past year, and then even more so the last 6 months. So it doesn't even feel like 6 months. It feels like once I was having that calling, all of a sudden everything just kicked in really quick and fast. And the way I upgraded as a star seed, as a light language channeler, connector, and
Mhm.
more has come through very quickly. So, is there? I mean, should I go more into the?
Yes, as it please help. I mean, I really feel like the people who may be listening to this would have an interest in knowing what that means and
Yeah.
how you facilitate that.
Yes, for sure. So I will say, because this could go many different ways, but I will give the general just because for the sake of having a little bit of a time frame. But I wanted to still not feel so rushed or anything like that. I just wanted to flow. And as far as star seeds, for those who don't know what a star seed is, it's really, I will put in my own terms, simple terms, is many of us we came from the stars, from different star systems, and we have those strong origins and connections with those different planets and star seeds.
Mhm.
And we came here in this human form to be able to step up and bring in those stars' essence, and remember who we are as a star seed. Because many of us, when we don't tap into that aspect, we feel kind of like half half complete or even less than that sometimes. And as a woman, as a modern woman, as a modern galactic shaman starseed woman, I do feel like when I started stepping into that role more, that's when I started feeling more complete. The healing aspect of things was like carry on at multidimensional levels, as opposed to before I was maybe tackling going to a therapist or a psychologist. It will literally just it feels like it only like touched the surface. It didn't
Mhm.
really address, nor did it fully saw my whole being, because you can't really fully heal if you only have like this part of it or this part of it, because it's pretty much like you're taking care of the symptoms, not the actual what's going on underneath it. And I
Mhm.
feel like stepping into my starseed aspect and origins has allowed me to really fully embrace all the different aspects of me.
Mhm.
And once I had that, started remembering who I was, the different origins, where I came from, and everything just like started like really feeling. My heart was just feeling, wow, yes, now that feels home. That feels like me. That feels very much part of all of me together. So my connections with the Pleiadians, with the
Mm.
Arcturians, with
Mm.
Taka, which I know you don't know it, right? I'm
Yes.
sure you meet Takas,
Yes.
right? And also more recently that I didn't a new layer of door opened up as far as my connections with Cyrus. I'm not always good with
Serious? Yeah. Mhm.
Cyrus.
Mhm.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
pronunciation. Yeah, so all of that has come down more and more, and once we start understanding those different aspects of ourselves, that's when we can fully and truly heal and upgrade. Because the truth is, I've always had a lot of trouble with my period since I was like 13. Since I first had my period, it
Mhm.
has always been very excruciating painful.
Mm.
And I didn't, and for my whole life, I just being told that, oh, you have your period on a monthly basis, so you're fine. There's nothing to
Right.
worry about. I was like, no, this is not normal. I'm in so much pain. I don't, how is this normal?
Mm, yeah.
Yeah. And once I started coming into my starseed aspect, I started realizing so many of these other timelines where there was a lot of trauma around the womb area, around our life force being taken away or our life force being drained, right? Because of our power, actually, right? Because we're very powerful women. And,
Mm-hmm.
and with power, people get kind of what do you call threatened by it instead of
Mm-hmm.
making it something good and where we can all
Mm-hmm.
work together. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like understanding starseed aspect has allowed me to understand the timelines that where a lot of us have gone through slavery, sexual abuse, rape, oh my gosh, so much more, right?
Right.
People pleasing and just, not being able to speak our truth, and I feel like, yeah, maybe your audience already knows, but how the throat chakra, when you look at it up close, it's like image of the yoni and how connected it is, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
The womb and the voice, those two connections. Yeah.
that's right. So wait, did I? I'm trying to figure out if I even answered the question. I hope so.
You did. I mean, it really you spoke to the part about what it means to you, and we don't have to get into this immediately, but like what how do you facilitate others to do that, to make that connection if they're, that's something that they're called to experience.
So for me, I work with all the different aspects together: the physical, the emotional, the spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
Understanding, like the way I do it is I'm not separating one or the other, because when we only tackle the physical, then we're kind of pushing aside the emotions. Or if we're only tackling the emotions, we're kind of maybe suppressing and not taking care of the physical. So for me, is really about opening the passages of what is blocking. So for example, if somebody comes to me and I do an energy scan and I get to know them, it's about providing safety, the safe container, both on the physical level, the emotional level, and the spiritual level, in order for this door and this portal to open up more safely so that
Mm-hmm.
we can allow this access to the greater divine light, divine love to come through. And that's usually how it kind of starts, because then I will receive that some of the intuitive knowing in order to assess and see what is it that's going to help the person connect the dots. So I'm definitely a big connector by nature, and that's what
Uh-huh.
I'm here to do. So many times in my journey, when I started thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to just go ahead and ascend and go reach higher realms, and then forget the body, and that didn't really work
Right.
out.
Right.
So like, yeah, and sometimes it's not as exciting as like, oh, let's talk about the Pleiadians. Let's go access and talk to Andromedans or other higher spiritual beings. Sometimes it's literally doing nothing and being here in the physical body and enjoying your food, having food gasms. It's
Right.
so great to talk about
I love that. Yeah.
right? I love food gasms, right? And
Mhm.
that is so spiritual, and people forget about that. And I always make sure, like, of course, not I'm not able to do it every meal. Sometimes, depending on my schedule, but other times, like, I will make sure to have that time where I'm like, oh, I'm really enjoying the cooking. Could be
Yeah.
something simple, and that could be so spiritual. And that is exactly like you're honoring your divine feminine energy, and with her being honored, all of a sudden your emotions starts kind of lining up, your physical body starts doing better, your spiritual connection, like, wow, off the roof, that connection is like super nice and direct and connected. And yeah, so that's like yeah, one small thing, right? So, and then realizing that sometimes that's exactly what we need. in order to ascend and for the body to come with the ascension, healing journey. And then other
Mhm.
times is really like telling certain things as it is with love, and just because the divine, and I feel like there's a misconception that sometimes the feminine energy is like, oh, gentle and soft only. No, no, I
Just
don't
an
think
aspect of it.
that's one aspect. So it's just a good reminder to say,
Mhm.
yeah, sometimes I have to come up and pull up like the tough love, right? Like the
Right.
tough love, and like, you know what? Yeah, this needs to, this is what the feminine needs right now. So if you're going to start going and doing all the other stuff, and disregarding her, she's the one who's gonna create and lead and amplify whatever the masculine is giving her. So that was the journey of me healing my masculine because it was
Mhm.
ignoring my feminine a lot.
Right.
Yeah, because that's what's coming from the 3D world in the corporate world for over 20 years. That's quite a journey. And let's see here. So, anyways, yeah. So it's a combination of different things, that how
Yeah. Yeah.
I help myself and others. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was agreeing with you that it has to be at all levels. Um, and you have to be to really, I mean, one of the things for me has always been to deeply love my life on earth in this physical body. So I love that you said that about the food gasms, right? Because it is important. I mean, it's like we're in a body, we decided to be in these bodies for a reason. And so to learn to deeply nourish and to enjoy it is like very foundational, right? And the emotions, learning how to navigate the whole spectrum, right? Without imploding or exploding.
Well, sometimes you need to explode. No, in
Well,
other ways.
yeah, and you do, but in a way that creates liberation, right? Rather than more limitation, I guess is one of
Yeah.
the paths that I have been on is you don't have to, sometimes you do, but you don't always have to burn down the whole house.
Right. No, no, that is usually not my first. I don't go by that first. I always come in a more loving way as I can. And
Hmm.
then for those who really don't understand the language of love, then sometimes what they need is when we burn the house a little bit.
Right. You have to you know,
Otherwise,
to rebuild, and that can take a lot of energy. I mean, sometimes you have to, but
and, and I feel like that is one of the things that it's just been really enjoyable learning how to navigate through these changes. And for example, if we do have to come to a point where we have to burn a little bit more tough love, which is a little bit more stern, or a little bit more fierce, not little.
fierce. Yeah, no, fierce is
Fierce.
important.
Yeah. Definitely, definitely. In if that takes place, I've learned that if I'm feeling that that's going to be needed, then I will prepare my body. I will have things already kind of that will give me cushion in the physical world, in my emotional world. So if I'm not gonna have a lot of time to really tap into my emotions, then I need to maybe and I'll be needing a lot of this energy as a as a feminine, as a woman.
Hmm.
It does take a lot of energy, right? It's not our first. We don't resort to that usually first.
Right. No, it's
Yeah.
one of the ways that we, can show up and be, the creator, the destroyer, and the preserver, right? It's knowing when to do what, right? And that's like that level of mastery as a feminine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was perfect because this morning I really did not have like quite everything. I didn't have the time to necessarily go in the kitchen, go in the living room, or doing this and then going around because my body. I mean, it's perfect timing because I am going to this week and a weekend. I'm going to be approaching my period, my menstrual cycle, so
Hmm.
I can feel my body slowing down and how certain things doing like the ovulation phase, it's like no biggie, no big deal. Right now, it's like, ah, saying no, this is too much, you know.
Yeah.
So I set up my room in a way where I have backup things. Like for example, I know how rose tea or hibiscus flower tea is so supportive for my womb. So I'll have, some extra bags of that around in my little menstrual cycle approaching, little kids or little areas, or I'll have certain incense, that is more for enhancing and nurturing the feminine in me. Um, while maybe on a day-to-day basis, when I'm nowhere near my menstrual cycle, I'll be like, all right, so some like really stronger like essential oil or other things
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
up to get me going. This one is actually slowing me down because
Yeah.
I need to be more in this state of being and allowing versus having to like feel like that like excitement all the time. It
No, that'll burn you out.
Well, yes, and that's exactly it. How it burned me out in life, like on the
It
first
burns you
level.
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost it's inefficient use of energy, or even like you have to keep your life force inside you first, right? And take care of all those things that it needs to do for you before you can
Right.
create from that over, filling cup, as many people say. But one thing I wanted to make sure that I asked you, there's a couple of things, but the first one is I want to make that connection for our listeners of how your starseed connections have supported you in this physical plane. Like, give maybe some examples, or like, are there gifts that you received by those connections that have allowed you to be able to be healthier here on earth, or to like just an understanding of what you need more, if because of those connections or relationships?
Mm. I'm gonna take a moment to breathe on that because I feel like
Yeah.
it will come allow more. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm.
Mm.
I feel that it has directly made a huge impact of how my heart chakra has opened.
Mm.
And the reason why that's important is because I've done a lot of work in different chakras separately, I remember, or all together. But that was before the star seed. When that was before the star seed aspect of me kicked in,
Mhm.
I was it feels like I was doing like the very basic kind of healing. I don't know what's the best word to put it.
Mhm.
And even the potency of my healing was not that I like to compare anything, but just for the sake of having
Contrast. Yeah.
there we
Mhm.
go,
Mhm.
perfect wording. Yes, I
Yeah.
feel like I was able to heal certain aspects maybe like this much before,
Mm.
like as a shamanic Reiki certified, and then as a sound healer, as somebody who was doing energy healing and work. That's how much I accomplished. Ever since I was called into remembering who I was at a soul level, which is the starseed aspect, all of a sudden I could touch, like I could go and, for example, I will something's going on with my heart. I will touch and will do energy healing, and it no longer felt that. It just did not feel like Reiki at all. It was something that was completely, it was coming from the universe, but beyond the universe, it was almost like there was a combination of energies that was coming from multi-dimensional levels. uh, I could even say more than like from the galaxy almost like that.
Mhm.
It was like much bigger. It's kind of like imagining the void in the galaxy
Yeah.
or the universe and this vastness. So I felt like there was that kind of support coming through my hand or through whatever it is that I was you know oh my goodness, like words they can be quite limiting sometimes, right?
They can. We do our best.
Yeah, I was like, oh oh my gosh. Okay, so imagine going from here to filling up this whole screen, screen, filling up this whole room, filling up the whole country, filling up the whole earth, and then beyond. That
Hmm.
was the contrast between what I was doing before. I found, I hop into my Starseed remembrance, and then after, and then now when I am, for example, sending love to my womb, does not feel like it's just this physical body me. You know, I know Reiki we also kind of access more.
Yeah. Universal energies. Yeah.
Was
Hmm.
yeah, this was beyond Reiki for sure, and I never actually had gotten clarity on the exact terminology, and sometimes we don't need it, and
Oh,
all I know is once I hop into the star seed aspect, then the impact of the healing that I was doing, the impact of my playfulness, the impact of my power, everything
mm,
just started amplifying um, once I release and I purge some of those old
yeah.
templates, old versions of me,
Right. Hmm.
because they're not really you. They were like the human conditions, the human programming, the traumas that we experienced, which was very much part of our mission and our purpose here.
Hmm.
But once I had, started learning how to let go of those and releasing and embracing more of my star seed, then everything kind of like amplifies, just like the Big
Mm,
Bang. That
yeah.
that is
It
the
really, really
there.
feels like a
Yeah.
that quantum, like, the quantum leap healing, it's just it's
Yeah.
beyond, which
Oh, and
it's
once,
not additive. It's just a complete shift
yeah,
in
and I
reality.
keep seeing the painting behind you right there.
That is my womb of light painting. So I love that I have that one up.
Yes, it's perfect, and then much bigger, and imagine bigger. What
Right, right. But it's a portal. So yeah.
so yeah, and it's not just big; it's expensive,
Mhm.
expanding, right? And we
Yes.
know how much
Limitless.
capacity our womb.
Limitless capacity. And when we join in our power, the womb power, we do create new worlds. That's the name of this painting, is the womb of light, the creator of new worlds.
Oh, the good. Yes,
Right?
I keep staring at
I
it.
could see, yeah. So they're my muses, but yeah. So I love that. Thank you for clarifying that. I think that really helps people to understand the importance of that work that you do. The connections to star seeds, because you can only go so far within the reality that you've been in, right? And if you want to go beyond that, you need to access, parts of your, what I like to call your infinite self, right? Which in part of that is that starseed aspect. It's almost like starseed soul retrieval, you're
Yes.
pulling back in these parts of yourself. And that's why I asked you. It's like I almost feel like you're doing this clearing and this healing, but you're also retrieving gifts. Like you're retrieving like
Hmm.
the magic or the wisdom from those lineages in the stars. And I love that I like that's what it gets uncovered when you do the clearing, right? It's like, oh, there's a
Hmm.
treasure there. But anyway, um,
I mean,
me,
you
yeah,
just talking about that. I was like, there's so much.
there's so much. So that's why I say, well, okay, well, let's just come back to center
Well,
here for
we'll
a
see.
moment.
Yeah, let's see what goes
There
on.
is another thing I want to make sure that I touch on, and you mentioned it briefly, was the power of the play, the amplification of your ability to be powerful, but to be playful. And I would love for you to just talk a little bit about that gift that I feel you have retrieved from the work that you do.
Yeah, thank you. If it's okay, just want to take a quick moment to step back because I feel like there was something that you talked about before that I wanted to
Sure.
mention,
Yeah.
but take a note of that one. Sure, I definitely want to go.
Mm-hmm.
So with the star seed and how it amplifies the healing abilities, amplifies your knowingness of who you really are, coming back into more of yourself. um, I feel like my divine feminine and divine source wanted to kind of share this with your audience as far as a lot of us may or may not realize, but if we're in this repeating cycle of health issues and we're not being able to heal it, and then we, for example, we go to the hospital to try and tackle something, and then all right, seems okay. And then we go back, and then guess what? And it repeats it. It means that it has not been fully healed. Or most likely they don't have the tools because this is happening at multidimensional level.
Right.
You need an upgraded tool in order to help you heal with those, and same thing when I found out about that. And something that I didn't know that I feel like might help is realizing not all the so-called earthly symptoms are actually originating from earth.
Mm, mm, mm,
And that's when the starseed aspect comes in. And
mm.
until we and it's okay, you don't have to understand what a starseed is or know about it. All you need is, if you feel a curiosity to learn more about that, then you're meant to start remembering who you are. That means your soul is ready. um, because some of these issues are not coming from your physical body at all. It is coming from the stars, where you have experienced a lot of different traumas too. And when you come into this physical form, you're still connected. There is basically, I'll give you the gist of what I do in my Starseed sessions, activation and coaching sessions, is to help you bring your human body and your astral body
Mm,
together into wholeness, because it got separated with all the traumas and all the conditioning,
mm,
name it,
mm.
lower vibrations, environment, and everything that we've been surrounded ourselves
Yeah.
for life. And so once that comes into union again, which is what
Mm-hmm.
in the first place, that's when you start realizing, oh no, yeah. So anyway, so
Yeah, no, thank you for
yeah,
clarifying and
about that.
bringing that down
Mhm.
deeper and into our consciousness here. Definitely.
Okay, yes. And then you're welcome. And so as far as the playfulness, right? I feel like it has been connectively linked when we are reclaiming our life force, and our
Mm,
feminine, our womb is the life force of everyone,
mm,
and is where we get
mm,
to also be playful with our creativity, because it was never to be forced. You can't force
mm.
creativity. It's,
No.
that is the patriarchal like way of existing, which is the 3D and everything. But it has taught us how to be man, I guess. and
Yeah.
um, but yeah, so I would say that the playfulness really started coming in. I've always had my silly side though, the silliness, the little. Can I bring the little Buddha?
Sure.
Okay, here's a little. Why is my light? Okay, here we go. Here's little Buddha. Say hi to
It's the
everybody.
happy Buddha.
He definitely honors the women. Like
Well, yeah.
my
Remind me
favorite.
to tell you a little something about that at the end.
Hello. Okay, thank you. So yeah, so I've always been drawn to like the majestic world, the little fairies, and even if I couldn't see it, I always felt the energy of like this playfulness, this cute, like if you, I could be all day showering myself with cute things. I wouldn't mind at all. I could live like that. And I feel like that really helped me tap into my playfulness and my ability to really just allow this fun, playful energy to come through.
Mhm.
And that is exactly what the star seed also aspect, is really reintegrating with your human self. And your human self as a child, you were always playful. You had dreams. You have, it was, a lot of by nature. I'm not saying that.
Mhm.
Many of us had a very different kind of childhood, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so it's about reclaiming that for ourselves.
The innocence. Mhm.
Yeah, the innocence, the play,
Mhm.
the ability to express any emotions, not just having to be happy because that's just, acceptable in society. Because that's kind of how it was my upbringing. I love my mom, I love my family, but they themselves did the best they could, and they didn't really have the tools nor the awareness to know that
Awareness.
yeah, that their
Mhm.
traumas, how it was impacting, and how we kind of pass it on to the kids, right? So now
Through
thank
the
God.
womb too, right from the get-go, through the womb.
That's it. Oh yeah, yeah. I did work where I went all the way to my mom's womb, and yeah,
Hmm.
before I was born, there was a lot of traumas already.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Hmm.
and then more right
And then
after I
more.
was born, and separation, abandonment, and all that, and yeah, and all those had a direct impact on how it led me to my near death experiences too. Because you start losing the life force, right? When you're in
Mm,
traumas and
hmm.
things around. I'm sorry, hope that wasn't too loud. It's like there was
No,
all
can't
quiet.
hear it.
Oh, good. Okay.
Zoom is really
Yeah,
good.
I was like, my ears, woman is like, ugh. But we work smart. We don't work harder. We work smarter. Um,
Yes.
but yeah, the playfulness, I would say that really allowing my little Judy to be playful, to have a safe space for her to shout and yell and do whatever she wanted, that helped her go into more of a pure essence of playfulness, innocence, being able to be all her different aspects more. And I feel like that's so important for all of us, right
It
now.
is.
Yeah.
I love that. Like, yeah, that connection between play and how it actually is a regenerative force. Like it regenerates your life force, right? And as children, that's why we healed so easily. Like if you were able to play, right, or be light, your bodies can heal more readily. Um, and I
But
really liked what you said about the connection that you made, that the origins of some illnesses or, some very curious, mysterious, long-term, or maybe acute illnesses have their origins, not on this planet, right?
yeah,
And that the work that you do can help with that. So thank you
it's like
for doing that.
yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, a good example is, I mean, overall, I did find it in order to reach that true essence of playfulness, it took me a lot of recognition of, yeah, sometimes you can fake it until you make it kind of thing, but not always.
For a while.
Yeah, for a while, you have to really shift things, really, you can't fake it until like the whole time, right?
Hmm.
Which is a nice saying, that it's helpful temporarily, but the, what actually helped me was really providing me myself that emotional safety,
Yeah.
especially as far as if you're talking about the the feminine side of us, including the little Judy or little Patricia and whatnot. Um, unless we have the emotional safety, it's going to be it can be really challenging for us to be truly playful in a sustainable way
Mm,
because if we're not feeling emotionally safe, then we're in survival mode. How can you be like really playful in survival mode, right?
no,
Try
no.
to get fake it for a little bit, but nah,
Yeah.
it will kind of come back to you. And I feel like this is where the multi-dimensional aspect of the starseed aspect healing takes place, is because if you're tackling um, whether it's slavery, sexual abuse, or people pleasing, those all can relate to a timeline of like Egyptian
Right.
timelines, right?
Mm-hmm.
And doing the starseed work can really help you tackle and heal those aspects and be able to release and recalibrate and rewrite new realities on
Right.
those multidimensional levels. And
Mm-hmm.
once that takes place, then my emotions like literally started calming down more because I was like, oh wow, yeah, because I could always feel there was more than just what was going on here in this lifetime. Because the tendency was like to try and when I went through my face, it was like Flores is blame. You don't take responsibility. You
Right.
blame everybody else, right? And I'm not laughing at anybody who does that because I've done it.
Mhm. Yeah, same.
But you too? What? No, no way. Patricia. No, you're an angel. You've always been an angel
Right.
in my
Always.
well, I guess all of us who look more like angels because we went through lots and then came.
Lots of purification. No.
There you go.
Daily.
here I am using all those other words, and you were like, "So nice purification." I was like, "Yeah,
Purification.
rebirth. It's nice and simple rebirth,
Rebirth. Yeah.
quick rebirth." Not really.
Daily. Daily, you never know what you might rebirth as, so you have to be very mindful.
Oh my gosh. Okay, what are we talking about now? Okay.
Oh, I'm just talking about the emotional, like that the
Oh
emotions, like
yes.
when you rebirth every day and you get to make a choice about what what side of yourself you want to show the world, right?
So, right. Rebirth of what? Do we want to rebirth for the better or for not? Well,
Sometimes we go a little backwards and then sometimes we'll,
it's like,
go
what is
forward.
this?
So
Take a step back before you can go 10 steps forward.
you have to revisit what you don't want so that it's time to really this time to leave it behind you. But anyway, I digress there. But I know that we're going to be coming to the end of the program for today for the show, and I want to give you enough time and an opportunity to share, you know, like a pearl of wisdom for our listeners to take away with them, and to also let them know how they can connect with you, and if there's any offerings that you have right now. And I'll make sure all of that gets put into the description for the podcast. But yeah.
Thank you. Yes. I feel like for any modern women out there who either feels like they already know their star seeds or not, or they're drawn to this podcast, to this chat, then you are most likely are already.
Right.
You just don't know it yet, or at least not on the mind. But your womb, your heart, your soul already knows. I definitely will say, don't be so hard on yourself, even during the times that we're not doing much, supposedly on a physical level, like no, not a lot of action.
Mm-hmm.
Know that sometimes that is a way of the divine and then the divine feminine in you asking you to slow down, to stop, to go within. Because once you go within, it's that same concept. Take a step back and then you can go 10 forward, because that's the kind of wisdom she has. When you honor her, when you honor your
Mm-hmm.
divine feminine, you go within, and connect to your heart.
Mm-hmm.
She will tell you such, she will share with you such wisdom that it's not forceful. You just, all you simply need to do is more be quiet the mind down. And I know in it, but you don't want to fight with the mind either, so
No,
what, right? And that's what the work is, right? Is,
right,
so part of my coaching and what I'm doing is it's not just tackling one thing at a time, is making sure that the mind doesn't feel left out.
right.
The
You have to
mind is a
include it.
powerful tool, but
Mm-hmm.
because we've been using the mind for so long, now it's time to rebalance by tapping
Rebalance.
more into your womb that has been kind of like left on the side for so long, because not things that are our own fault, but it's our responsibility to kind of address that now, as
Mm-hmm.
we are
Mm-hmm.
aware and we bring the awareness of what we're really here to do, which is more than um, our upbringings, perhaps, and it's really to come back to self love. And yeah, let me see if there's
Yeah.
anything else. So I
Yeah.
feel like,
Beautiful.
yeah, I feel like it's important to remind all of us of that, and that the masculine in us and the masculines that we attract are a reflection of our own energy within us. And when you come into this union and peaceful harmony between your feminine and masculine, and your masculine start honoring your feminine and vice versa, that's when the beauty comes through, as far
Mm-hmm.
as your life force, your vitality starts coming right back up, doing more things that you love. And the feminine aspect is not about making sense before you hop onto that. It's all about trusting this divine knowing and wisdom that she has and going with that forward. And that's how she's going to attract, that's how she's going to amplify, she's going to manifest what you want more in life. And I feel like that was a hard lesson for me getting to
I think
this
it is for
point.
many.
Yeah,
Hmm.
like many of us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like, yeah, if it can serve as a reminder, if not, hopefully, if it is the first time that you're listening, your audience is hearing about it, yeah, definitely contact me to find out more about it. And yeah, again, there's so much more, but I want
Well,
to make
how
sure.
can they reach you?
Yes.
What is the best way for them to connect with you?
Oh, yes. I am on Facebook, so my name is
Okay.
Judy, Judy, and Kuo, Kuo. I do have, information there that is available for people. And then I have my simple and humble website.
Oh,
It's Thriving Hearts with a S, United at, oops, no, that's my email. I'm so sorry. Thriving
we'll
Hearts.
write it down for you
You
too.
write it down, yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, Thriving
Thriving
Hearts.
Hearts.
Uh,
Okay.
yeah, United dot mind dot Canva dot site. I use Canva, which is something that was very creative, and
I
I
love Canva. I love it.
know I didn't know they have like a option for website. And when I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. So
That
I think
is great. I did not know the website. Yeah.
there
Mhm.
you go. It's been helping a lot of people because sometimes, anyway, so going
Anyway,
back.
that's another
That's another
episode.
topic. I know it's so hard to contain myself a little bit here. But yeah, but if anybody is interested, yeah, those are the best way to reach me.
And
And
do
then,
you have any programs right now that are you're offering or any?
oh yes, so I am offering regular Starseed activation and
Okay.
coaching sessions, but I also have started offering Starseed programs. So
Nice.
there's a level one, and then a
Hmm.
level two. Level one is for people who are maybe more towards the beginning of their Starseed
Hmm.
journey, whether they are aware they're a Starseed or not. That's
Hmm.
okay. It's just it will help you tackle all aspects of yourself, so the
Hmm.
human, the physical, the emotional, the spiritual. So those are more basics in order to make sure that your body is coming, everybody's coming together for level one. And then level two is more of an intermediate where you already have all your self-care practices, you're very aware of your starseed origins, and now you're ready to take it to the next level, which I can help you facilitate and access the queen codes. And we work a lot with light codes, like language, and all sorts of different yummy stuff and the
Sounds
cosmos.
amazing.
Yes.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Well, yes. So anybody who's interested, and just reach out to Judy, and she can guide you in that direction. And it was just really was a delight to have you on the podcast today. And I'm sure that, we'll find a time to get you back and we'll talk a little bit more. So again, thank you so much. And thank you to the audience for tuning in to this episode, and just stay divinely inspired, and we'll talk next time. Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Divinely Inspired Woman. Again, I am your host, Patricia Wald-Hopkins, and I am so glad that you joined us here today. I hope you left with some soul food to inspire your daily life. And if you would like to learn more about my work, please check out my website, patriciawaldhopkins.com, and you can find out more about my divinely inspired practice and tools. So, thank you again. Have a beautiful day. Hi, I'm dropping in here with an announcement about a program, a new mentorship that I am offering. It's called Voices of Gaia, and it's about bringing your voice, your leadership, your life in alignment with Gaia's guidance. So if you feel called to learn more about this program, it's a beautiful, rich program where we dive into your essence. And if you so desire, we develop your business around it and really blossom into your whole lifestyle. This wisdom from Gaia that wants to be spoken through you. So if you feel called, reach out to me at patricia@patriciawaldhopkins.com. That's patricia@patriciawaldhopkins.com. There's no hyphen between Wald and Hopkins. And I would just love to hear from you and see if this is a good fit. So thank you for tuning in. Have a beautiful day.